Another shooting, this time at an ICE facility in Texas. What's interesting is Patel and local officials, to include Ted Cruz, are stating this was an attack on ICE employees, but all three victims were ICE detainees or immigrants, and two are dead. So why would a shooter kill detainees when their purpose is supposedly to harm ICE employees? Doesn't make a lick of sense to me. And the so-called evidence submitted by Patel are very suspect. Anti-ICE supposedly written on bullets. Who uses that type of verbiage? I can understand profanity or more negative statements, but anti-ICE on a bullet? Not buying it at all. The same Patel created a so-called note of the murderer of Kirk, which didn't make a lick of sense either. When reporters asked officials, what will you do to ensure security of ICE detainees, there was absolutely no comment from Cruz, Patel, or local law enforcement. I'll let you be the judge of it.
All right, but first we continue following all of the breaking news coming to us out of Dallas, Texas. A shooting at an ICE facility. It's left 2 people dead, 1 person in critical condition. So from the ground and our crews there, here's what we know. Authorities say the shooter is also dead of an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. That shooter, police say, opened fire from an adjacent rooftop of a building right towards the facility. All 3 of the people shot, we understand, were detainees at the facility. And officials add anti-ICE messages were found near the suspected shooter. Here's the acting director of Dallas ICE.
This is the second time I've had to stand in front of you and talk about a shooter at one of my facilities. And I think that the takeaway from all of this is that the rhetoric has to stop. There are people out there who are seeing what is being placed online, and they're coming and they're doing acts of violence against ICE employees. So that's kind of all I have for today, is that it's just got to stop. It's dangerous, and people are losing their lives.
Well, in the wake of so much tragedy, CBS News correspondent Omar Villafranca is live in Dallas. Omar, it's always great to see you. We're sad to hear about the headlines out of Dallas, Texas. We know the shooting happened near a very busy freeway, people moving out and about, some of them probably moving their kids to school. What do you know?
You're right, Reed. This happened right off I-35, one of the busiest highways really in the country. It goes all the way from Mexico to Canada. And this happened just before 7 o'clock this morning. And at an ICE processing center is what I'm being told by attorneys. This isn't one of those big facilities where people are brought in and they're held. This is a processing facility where people are brought over from the county jail, processed through there, or sometimes people go in if they have their immigration cases, they'll check in there. So it's not one of these big facilities. It's not even well marked. This is where it happened, according to law enforcement sources. What they're saying is there was somebody, a shooter, who was nearby on an elevated platform, maybe a building, and we've seen some police activity around buildings, that shot into there. Now, 3 people were hit. We understand that all 3 of them were detainees of ICE. 2 have passed away, and that the shooter died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Now, I talked to an attorney who works nearby here, and he was saying that they couldn't even get to their office because everything had been shut down around here. Their offices are right near this ICE facility. There's plenty of vehicles that are passing by, not only just the morning commute, but ICE activities in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, so it does stay busy.
Yeah, I used to live in that area. I know that thoroughfare right there. Talk to us more about the rise in threats that we're seeing at these ICE facilities, specifically in Texas.
Well, interesting enough, there was a bomb threat at this exact facility back in August, and then nearby, we're on the Dallas side, other side is Fort Worth. On the Fort Worth side near Alvarado, there's a bigger facility over there, and there was a shooting that was actually there a few months ago as well that grabbed national headlines. So these are always under investigation. They always have eyes on them. There's always a security threat with increased ICE action. Interesting enough, you mentioned how FBI Director Kash Patel put it, that tweet that showed a picture of some bullets and bullet casings, and anti-ICE was written on one of those. We're trying to figure out who this shooter was. There's not a lot of information that's been released. We're getting some information from sources, and we're checking with police activity and what they're doing in this area, trying to find out who this person was, what their motives were. Obviously, you see anti-ICE, and that should be kind of a no-brainer there, but we want to find out officially from law enforcement sources, and right now they're being tight-lipped. One thing we tried to ask Reed, and I want to reiterate this, when you had law enforcement here from state and federal, also Senator Ted Cruz was here, we had confirmation that there were detainees that were hit. I said, we wanted to ask, and I was yelling the question, what is being done to not only protect your ICE officers, but detainees? And they didn't want to answer that yet. We want to know if there's going to be increased security, not only for the ICE officials, but for detainees. Haven't heard anything yet.
We know you'll keep asking the questions. Omar Villafranca, always great reporting there. Thank you so much from a very gray sky Dallas, Texas.